welcome to Digimon Ghost Gaze. This is a spooky podcast where we are all trapped, we are all bound up in the demands of capitalism, and really that's the real horror. I'm one of your hosts, Emery. My pronouns are he, she, they.
I'm Morg, the another co-host. My pronouns are they, them.
And I'm Elvire, the other co-host, and I use she, they.
Hello, my name is Austin. I am a guest. My pronouns are they, them.
Yes, as
Hello.
you can hear, we
Welcome.
have a guest already for episode 2. Very exciting stuff.
Digimon is all about friendship.
I listened to the first episode and was like, hey, y'all seem cool. Can I be presumptuous and just show up tomorrow?
Yeah, I honestly love the enthusiasm. We're one episode in, we've already had like 3 people ask to be guests, and I'm like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah.
Good
Sure.
feeling.
I mean, like, every Digimon podcast that I've listened to has at least one, if not more, hosts who are queer in some manner. And this is the first one where everyone is. So, well, maybe not the first one, but
This is just proof that Digimon's for the queers, obviously.
it is.
Yeah, I've listened to quite a few Digimon podcasts. Like, so many of them have just a bunch of transes, just a
Yeah.
bunch of gays.
I think Lost in Translation Mon is the only other one with like pure queer host.
Let's see. There was also Digimonday, where both of the hosts are trans.
I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, that's never got finished, but it was enjoyable to listen to. Yeah, there's like a bunch of them. But this is our Digimon podcast. We're talking. It's brand new, and we're talking about the brand new Digimon.
This is the Noise Space Digimon podcast.
This is the Noise Space Digimon podcast. So yeah, wanna jump into the episode recap?
I had my personal history with Digimon prepared, personally.
Oh, of course,
right.
yes,
Yeah,
of
we
course.
should probably ask that.
Totally forgot about that.
Yes.
So I am weird, and I watched Digimon Frontier was the first season I watched.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It is not without its flaws, and it is absolutely deserving of much of the criticism it gets. But as we've been discussing in the Discord, it was one of the first series that I ever saw that had a good guy use the power of darkness, and that felt very personal to me. And the fact that the big bad of the series is an angel was unheard of in Western media at the time. Not a devil that used to be an angel, but was just straight up an angel. It's like, oh, cool, God's a bad guy.
Who'd have thought it?
As someone who had religious family, this felt very personal.
Fair enough. I mean, sometimes I feel like I'm being a little too hard on Frontier, and then I remember that, in all of Izumi's evolution sequences, they do like a close-up on her chest and ass, and I'm like, no, okay, it's...
Yeah, no, it absolutely deserves much of the criticism it gets, and I would argue that it gets more wrong than it does right, but both due to a combination of the very personal connection I have with the Warrior of Darkness arc, and my personal nostalgia, I like it, but yeah, it's...
Yeah.
That's absolutely fair.
Yeah, I can acknowledge that there are, like, parts of it that are good and cool. It just made me too mad to ever get to that point
also
with it,
Different when it's like your first season.
Yeah, that's
true.
totally true.
And, I watched it when I was 13 years old. If I watched it for the first time now, I'd be like, wow, this is awful.
Yeah, I'm thinking about...
It's different when I'm just like, oh, hey, I don't know who I am myself yet.
I'm just gonna
that makes
skip it
complete sense.
in my watching of every Digimon.
The second season I watched was Tamers, and then Adventure in Zero Two. So I kind of watched the classic 4 seasons basically in reverse, which is not common, and probably part of why I'm just like, yeah, no, Adventure's not very good.
Adventure's not very good. I say that as someone with nostalgia for it. Like, I do have...
It's
right.
bad, but it's not
right.
I love Adventure, but I'm rewatching it now, and I am realizing that I have never seen it in order. I have not.
Interesting.
In a weird way, I think the dub of Adventure aged a lot better.
That's
because
a take.
of the weird comedy. Like, it's still weird, but it's more engaging to watch. Both of them are very good in their own ways and kind of bad in their own ways.
Probably tones down some of the, like, weirder parts, maybe, like, with, like, kids, at least. At least it seems like when we were talking about Frontier, the dub toned down the, like, horny parts, so maybe there's similar stuff.
I've never actually seen, the only seasons I have seen, both dubbed and stubbed, are Adventure, Zero Two Try, and Kizuna. Everything else, like Tamers and Frontier, I've only seen dubbed, and everything else after Savers, I've only seen subbed. So.
Okay, well.
Yeah, I am just, like, generally a subs-only person. I've seen the dub... I saw the dub of Tamers before I saw it subbed, and I was like, oh, the sub is so very different tonally and so much more up my alley than the dub is.
I'm generally, it depends on the anime, really.
Yeah.
Generally it's just easier to find subs because I'm using Crunchyroll, but, like, I'll take either. They usually, it depends. When I was younger, I was much more into dubs, not because I grew up with them, but because I found a lot of the Japanese women voice actors a little too high pitched for me. I don't know if I've just gotten used to it or what, but it doesn't bother me as much anymore.
You mean you didn't like how Goku Dragon Ball is voiced by an elderly Japanese woman?
It's not that.
I mean, so is Duke.
It's more like the young girls with the high pitched, like.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
Where
the ones that are so high pitched that it breaks glass and makes your ears bleed.
Right, like it's just a little too high pitched for. Usually, it was young girls. I think I've both gotten used to it, and it's just been generally toned down in more recent anime. I don't know. It's just like older anime that I watch. I've been like, ugh.
I personally tend to default to dubs personally, but that's because Japanese is a very monotone language, and I have a hard time hearing tone in general, so I'm just like, this sounds like flat gibberish to me, and so I would just rather watch it in English.
I find it hard to say the difference between a dub and a sub, because I, as a child, saw the Dutch translation of often the English translation of an anime, and you can imagine how bad that is.
That sounds like a terrible game of telephone to be on the receiving end of.
Yes.
And then they showed everything out of order because, TV sucks.
God.
Very strange.
What is serialized television?
Yeah, boy. Adventure, yeah, Digimon in general, like, there are some episodes that are sort of one-off and you could do out of order, but, like, the entire series, that just sounds like a recipe for something. A recipe for incoherence.
Confusion.
Which I kind of respect as a podcaster who often podcasts on very little sleep.
God.
Sometimes we like a recipe for incoherence.
I did actually, after listening to your previous episode, I did notice that you all had brought up Hiro's line of, while Clockman and Gammamon are running on the rooftops, Hiro mentions that all Digimon are all Digimon this battle hungry? And I kind of hope this season does go into that more. Because this is a thing of Digimon lore that has been around since the original V-Pets. Digimon need to fight the same way humans need to exercise or socialize.
Interesting.
So,
Yeah,
I know, integral to their personal growth.
Yeah, I know Elvier mentioned that Gammamon has a little bit of that feral Guilmon energy, where, like, he's a little baby, but he wants to fight, and yeah, like, that was definitely present in Tamers, so I'm wondering, like, how much of an element it will be in this series as well.
The only series that doesn't have shades of that is Atmon, and I think that's because they lean more into the artificial intelligence and desire to learn rather than these are monsters that need to fight thing.
True. Yeah, I agree with that, yeah.
And so few seasons dive into it. Tamers is really the only one that does, and that's part of what makes Tamers really good. Hey, these are children directing kaiju fights in the middle of downtown Japan. Let's maybe address that this isn't really a good thing?
It's normal. It's fine.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Like 11 to like 16-year-olds or whatever, they're fine. It's fine.
Dog in a room on fire. This is fine.
Except the dog is like a dog Digimon.
It's just Garurumon.
Yes.
Alright, so do we want to talk about the episode? I could launch into our summary.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we open on a salaryman. He's presumably walking home from work, drinking his beer, sighing about how his job is exhausting. And immediately I say relatable. And
So true, Bess.
then he turns around and there's a mummy there, and the mummy wraps him up in bandages. And that's honestly like kind of a spooky cold open. Like,
Yeah, it was good.
yeah, they don't go soft on this one.
It's definitely alarming for sure.
Yeah.
I actually found this episode a lot less scary than the first episode, but this had a lot more, like, slow creeping terror behind it. It's like, towards the end, you'll see a bunch of people wrapped up like that, and it's like, okay, that's scary, but it's like, I'm more scared of the eventual dehydration and death of these people rather than being wrapped up like that. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I think this one hit me particularly because, like, you know, his head also gets wrapped up, and that's just, like, hitting me right in the claustrophobia.
Yeah, absolutely.
I kind of hate physical dead things that walk, and mummies are just a little too close to zombies for me, so it was scary for me.
I mean, just seemed like a cool episode, but, like, absolutely makes sense. Man, the mid-aughts were probably not very fun for you, Elvier, because I feel like everyone was talking about zombies then.
Yeah.
God, the one thing was was Mummymon like goopy? Like there was like goopy noises. Am I crazy?
What is a goopy noise?
There was like a weird goop noise.
I did not notice any goopy noise.
Okay.
I noticed clunking because Mummymon does have metal braces on his lower legs.
Okay.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I thought it was really well done, actually.
Yeah, I didn't notice any goopy sounds,
Okay.
although, yeah, I don't know. I wasn't paying super close attention to the sound design on this one. I was a little bit rushing to take notes.
No, normally I wouldn't have even noticed. I just was confused where it came from, but maybe I made it up. I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah, so this guy just gets mummified and then dragged off to who knows where.
It's like, hi, bye.
And a homeless person witnesses the whole thing.
Yeah.
All right. Oh.
Yeah, and then we cut to Hiro, and he's sleeping on the floor for some reason.
Because his room is still ruined.
He's allowed if he wants. I guess it's fine.
My concern would be that his bed is filled with glass shards, and so
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it's the same nights. His window is all... I don't think he even told anyone yet that his room is like that.
Because they, have to fix the window,
2
soon
days
after
later,
this. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
But-
that makes sense.
And
He's I'm exhausted from fighting. Now I'm...
Yeah, it was
Just gonna
probably a
sleep.
combination of, putting the cardboard up to cover the window, worried about glass shards in his bed, and so he just passed out on the floor, just kind of going, fuck it, I don't care.
He's so tired.
Yeah, that makes sense. He is.
He's so tired.
But Gammamon says it's wake-up time.
Uh-huh.
By chomping on his knee.
Imagine having a chomp clock.
Yeah, Gammamon just bites him.
He's like, I'm hungry. I'm gonna eat you. Just kidding. Give me food.
So Hiro goes down to the cafeteria. He very suspiciously just smuggles a burger up under his shirt. Hiro, you could have just taken that to your room, and
Yeah, I wonder-
probably no one would care.
That it is more suspicious.
Yeah,
Their shirt than just carrying it.
it's very funny.
He doesn't want questions asked. It's normal.
It's just normal teen boy shit. Teen boys put burgers under their shirts. This is what I'm learning here.
He doesn't want to be, roped into talking with his friends or something. I don't know.
Just say you're tired and you want to spend a few more minutes in your room, it's fine.
So Gammamon's eating the burger. Hiro is trying to get exposition out of him, like where his dad is and what the digital world is. And Gammamon,
She's like, what's a dad?
Oh god.
yeah, has no idea what a dad is, only knows Hiro's dad on a first-name basis. Just points in a direction when asked where he is, so this little boy clearly knows nothing, and is head empty, stomach empty, because he wants to eat more.
I do have a feeling that the brief time we saw the digital world in the first episode, it was basically just overlaid with the real world or something. I don't really know how to explain it. But it was very, very reflective of it, and so I have a feeling that Gammamon is literally pointing at Hiro's dad, who is standing literally next to him, and is
God.
there the entire time.
Oh,
Yeah, but-
God.
Ooh.
The intro
Yeah.
song kind of hints at that, right? Like you see his dad in those different spaces constantly. I figured that was a hint at that.
Well, I know one of those clips in the opening is referencing a scene from Poltergeist.
Oh, I don't watch scary movies, so I will not know any of those references.
It totally was referencing that. I forgot.
There's a ton of scary movie references in that opening.
Yeah, there are.
People will have to point them out to me.
I'll try to take note a little bit better next time, but I get too wrapped up in just noticing things about the Digimon partners instead of noticing the
Yeah.
movie
Oh, yeah.
references.
I get too
was
wrapped
just
up in enjoying the awesome song.
It's really good. It slaps.
I was just like, oh, there's spooky hands on the wall. That's one thing I noticed.
Yeah. I'm just like, damn, and Goramon's evolution has some thighs.
Damn, so true.
I'm so excited for Angoramon. Angoramon is already my favorite of the partners.
I'm assuming you already know the name because the names that show up in the intro song, I can't read that fast.
Big Banui.
Yeah, so, Hiro wants to go out and get more food for his little buddy. He asks if Gammamon can operate doorknob, and because he does, it's implied that he doesn't really want Gammamon getting out of his room unsupervised.
Yeah.
So Gammamon just sprouts wings out of his back. He's got little bat wings, which I fucking love as part of the whole Halloween-y aesthetic of the show. So he just flies over and opens the door. So Hiro's like, Okay, cool, you're coming with me then.
I cannot leave this little child unattended, because he will likely get impatient and wander off.
I noticed it in the opening. I didn't notice it last time in the opening, though, so I was like, where does wings come from? And then I'm immediately answered in this episode. I was like, oh, okay, they just spring out of his back. They're like retractable. It's very cute. But yeah, he just ends up chilling in Hiro's backpack while he's getting... It's very cute.
I just think it's fair from Hiro to assume that Gammamon wouldn't be able to open a door. Gammamon has not been showing his brightest side.
I mean, Gammamon isn't the smartest, but it is also intelligent in random spots.
He's baby.
Yeah.
He's baby.
It's true.
He's baby.
I love that everyone just immediately is like... First of all, everyone can see Gammamon. Because
Hiro does not notice.
Materialized. Even though there's like other things that aren't noticed.
There's a difference in texture, which I thought was a pretty clever detail.
Yeah.
We did skip a scene at the museum where Ruri and her friends are going around checking out the exhibit.
Oh, yeah, that's
true.
right. It cuts to that first. I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot that was before the...
It's a bunch of tiny scenes every time. It's pretty quick.
Yeah. Ruri and her friends are investigating this ancient Egypt exhibit at the museum because apparently Ruri has gotten a tip on her social media account about a mummy hologram ghost. So, and, she sees the mummies. She's disappointed that they're not alive, spooky holograms. And she does try to do a necromancy on one of them. There's like this sort of...
She's great.
Yeah, there's this hallway with like glass panels on both sides and a bunch of like mummies displayed in a row. And it's like genuinely kind of like just like an unsettling... setting just because it's
hallway of the dead.
Yeah, just like fucking desiccated bodies on either side of you, and she just goes up to one of them and just holds out her hands and tries to make it move. We love this little necromancer.
She's a little freak. I love her.
I adore her.
Yeah,
she just like wants to see it move. She wants to prove that it
She wants some fantasy in her life, and I don't blame her for that at all.
If there are no ghosts there, she will summon them herself. She's a go-getter. She gets things done.
That's exactly right.
And then one of her friends is kind of exacerbated by Ruri's attempt at necromancy and just sighs heavily. And we see Mummymon's eye poke out from behind one of the mummies.
Then it disappears again before she notices.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then we're back to Hiro. He sees a little Chumon run off into some bushes, and he's like, wait, I want to talk to you. I want to learn about Digimon, because my little friend is too dumb and hungry to tell me anything. And then some people just like are like, wow, that kid loves talking to that bush. And then we get Hiro and Gammamon in the grocery store. Hiro's got a little Gammamon in his little backpack. They're going around. Gammamon sees a fish and is afraid of it.
He's like, it's staring at me.
Very fair.
And then Gammamon smells the samples being cooked and is just delighted.
Yeah. They've just got like a little grilled beef stand right there in the grocery store.
Everyone thinks he's a little AI.
My first thought is tell everyone that he's a little kid wearing like a Kigu pajama set, so that way he can eat the samples and they won't be freaked out.
He's so upset that he can't eat them.
Yeah, just telling people it's a costume has worked in literally every other season of Digimon.
I know.
Hiro, why don't you have this genre awareness?
Just say it's your little brother, because it is.
I feel like maybe it's because, like, one, he might be too small to be believable, to be able to, like, talk that much. And then also, like, because holograms are just so prevalent in this universe, it's, like, easier almost to say that it's a hologram.
Yeah.
And people, like, assumed it was a hologram when he was looking in the bushes, too. Like, there was already this kind of assumption people are gonna make, like, oh, it's a hologram.
The main difference is that with a hologram, their hand would pass through it, and with it just saying it's a little kid in a costume, then you don't have to worry about people touching Gammamon because, oh, it's just a kid in a costume, so it doesn't matter if he's solid.
That's true, and he actually has to dodge out of the way of the person with the samples because they're about to, like, touch Gammamon.
Very rude. Don't touch people without asking.
And then he has to run away before Gammamon can get his little free sample, and Gammamon does a little scream. It is just, like, such a...
Poor baby!
It's so pathetic.
He really wanted that meat, and it is... That little scream has already become a meme, as it should. It is just, like, such a good little bit of vocal performance. It's very endearing. I love that little boy.
Favorite character, Gammamon's scream.
You know what else has become a meme? I just feel like we should address this. It does say Mommies.
Yeah, I thought that was gonna be fake.
Mommies,
and then we get to the episode. And it is there. It is there.
It says Mommies.
Just Mommies.
It's Mommies.
It's Mommymon. To me.
On that topic, as Hiro is checking out at the register, he notices a magazine about the mummy kidnapper, and so he grabs that.
Yeah.
Is that like is that just a regular magazine, or is that like a tabloid magazine? Like, are there tabloids being told about the haunted creepypasta holograms?
Get your local cryptid tabloid.
It's just like an Examiner or whatever.
Yeah.
About
I
the
don't
fucking
read enough
holograms.
magazines to know the difference. So.
Oh no, I don't either.
Just based on, like, the picture-heavy layouts, I would guess that it's probably a little more tabloidy, but it has, like, true information on it, on, like, these hologram ghosts, and, yeah, one would assume that there's, like, enough corroboration of all of these, like, you know, from the way they're talking about it, at least for some people, it seems like there's enough corroboration of all of these, like, hologram ghost appearances that, like, is just taken as a given that, you know, one of these could show up and start kidnapping people.
Yeah.
And, like, again, we did see a homeless man watch in the opening scene the person get wrapped up and kidnapped, so there is legitimate eyewitness.
Yeah, there's even a picture in the tabloid, and I think, like, based on the setting, it could have been taken by that same homeless person.
Probably was.
So yeah, there's, like, even a fucking photograph of the Mummymon in that magazine. But we need to talk about what's happening as Hiro is reading the magazine, because Gammamon is getting snacks.
Yeah, you promised us Gammamon take care of last week, and
we got it.
Sure did get that.
It delivered.
Oh my god, so wholesome.
We just get this beautiful little scene of Hiro and Gammamon having a picnic in this sun-dappled forest. Hiro is feeding Gammamon little bites of food, and Gammamon loves all of it.
Except for the spicy.
Yeah, he eats the spicy and loses his shit.
It's like, no, he's scary.
He calls it scary.
He says the wrong words.
He says shiny for the, like, salmon. And I'm like, okay, that means good, I guess.
Hiro makes notes of that. He's like making a little Gammamon translation book.
Yes, I love how Hiro is taking time to learn Gammamon's verbal quirks. It's so...
Oh, I love to see it.
Like, it shows that he cares, and it's like, yes, give me this good partner dynamic.
It is so sweet and thoughtful, and it's just this beautiful little character building moment. This is like the shit I come to Digimon for. This is peak Digimon to me. I loved this scene.
Yeah, and he feeds him chocolate, and he fucking loves it.
Yes.
He loves it.
Calls it champion.
Yeah.
To be fair, chocolate is pretty damn good.
It is good.
So true.
And I think then we go back to zombie time, if I have my timeline correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, in my notes I say that Hiro is reading the magazine back at the dorm while Gammamon sleeps, but yeah. Then it goes to the museum at night.
Yeah. Then we cut to the museum. Mummymon comes out of the wall. He has apparently been hiding inside one of the desiccated corpses.
As you do.
Although I guess we saw a little bit of that earlier. But he just comes out. He's on the prowl. He's on the prowl for those burdened by capitalism, so he doesn't have to go very far to find someone.
Yeah.
I did notice, too, that Mummymon bumps into the glass wall of the exhibit, and then has to take a moment to phase through. And I think that's to show us, the audience, that Digimon can interact with the real world, but can also ignore it at times, too.
Oh, I missed that. That's a nice little detail.
Yeah, I also missed that. That's cool.
That's a nice little touch, and it makes, him carrying the wrapped up people less, weird, because it's oh, yeah, okay, they could kind of interact with and hold things.
It looks like they have to consciously phase through materials.
I think I was too focused on, being proud of myself for figuring out how he was choosing his victims, and then I realized what the age range for this series is. And I was a bit less proud, but I did figure it out before it was literally set.
I noticed that Mummymon appears literally after everyone sighs. Even Ruli's friend in the museum, she sighs and Mummymon shows up, and it's oh, that's the thing that's catching his attention.
I keep yawning.
It is.
Mummymon's gonna fucking appear behind me. It's fine.
Don't you dare yawn.
I can't help it. Yeah, I didn't connect it. Hiro had to tell me. I was oh, that's what I gotcha. Thanks.
I will say I noticed it on I noticed the sigh being the connector on the third time I watched the episode, because I've watched the episode every day this week.
Yeah,
I wish that were me, but I have to wait until Sunday morning.
Boo.
There are sites that have them publicly.
I do try to be
It's a little tough.
nice about it.
Yeah.
But not so nice that I'm willing to pay Crunchyroll, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm using... My friend is letting me use his Crunchyroll. I'm not paying them.
Yeah, no one on this podcast currently is paying for a Crunchyroll account. We're all mooching off of friends.
Yep.
I clearly need better friends then.
But we cut to a woman sitting on the bench looking at her employee ID, debating if her job is worth it or whether she should quit or not.
Quit.
Yeah. Yeah. The moment you're considering quitting, that's when you have to quit.
But at the same time, you have to afford rent.
Yeah.
There's pros and cons to both sides.
Capitalism.
I hate it.
I always am feeling this.
God, the only thing worse than having a job is being unemployed.
So true.
Yeah.
Mummymon appears to her, though.
And offers her eternal life as he wraps her up in linens.
Yes. Very normal stuff.
This is not optional. Not optional. She gets it.
She must have eternal life.
And then he carries her down to the museum basement where we see dozens of people wrapped up.
There's so many.
It's terrifying. And I'm how many of these people is he grabbing each night? Because if it's only one a night, then some of those bodies are definitely dead from dehydration and lack of food.
Yeah, it was a bit upsetting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna... Man, they didn't even mention that, but that's true.
Some of the bodies are very weakly being please help me. And it's just, it's upsetting.
And he's you're doing great, nearly there, keep going. Oh my god.
Just die for me.
Yeah, no, this part is, like, once again, pretty fucking creepy. Like, yeah, you got the dark basement, you got, like, the people wrapped up in bandages who are claustrophobic and dying. It's you got Mummymon being like, yes, this is good. You got the specter of capitalism looming over it all.
I think it's hauntology.
Yeah, it was like cartoony, but it was scary. I really like the vibe of this show.
This episode, I think, was less visually scary and more conceptually scary. That's a good way of putting it, I think.
Yeah.
Because in the previous episode, with all the close-ups of Clockmon's creepy face and sewn lips, like, yeah, that's scary looking. Not scary in concept because it's a clown man. Or Clockman.
It could also be like different vibes of scariness for different people. Is what I was thinking.
Oh, I hope they do a different vibe every time.
It'd be so good.
Yeah, I'm so glad that they're, like, leaning into the horror aspect of it. Like, yeah, this was an effective episode for me. Like, damn, I was feeling the tension, and, like, it also gave me a feeling that, like, that is always great to see in Digimon, and I feel like I have not, like, had this for a while, where I'm just like, damn, Digimon is going hard.
Yeah.
Like,
I wrote in my notes that I hope they have some of the fucked up guys that scared me as a kid. I don't remember specifically which Digimon scared me as a kid, but I know there was at least one. There's some just, like, creepy shit in some of the early seasons, though, and I'm like, I hope they bring them back.
In 02, there's an entire Cthulhu episode, and they never do anything with it. And I'm like, please, Ghost Game, bring that back.
I'm just waiting for the bug Digimon. I love bugs. Where are my bug Digimon?
True.
People find that scary, so they're definitely gonna show up. I know it.
Yeah, some people, or like a spider at least, you know.
Yeah.
ooh.
Imagine if they use Wormmon. Oh, I hope they use Wormmon for the scary part.
Oh, scary little Wormmon!
Be amazing.
I mean, some of Wormmon's evolutions are terrifying. Like, Flymon is scary.
Yeah.
The 6-foot wasp? No, thank you.
There you go.
Then we go to the next morning where Hiro's window is getting replaced, and we see Hiro requesting a leave of school campus. Since I guess yesterday was Sunday and today is Monday. And so he has to return by 11 p.m. And this is when Kotaro returns from the hospital.
Yeah.
He's back, and he's immediately like, wow, I had to leave because I was hitting on a nurse, and I was like, alright, dude, dial it back.
It's like, calm the fuck down. I know you're a teen boy, but, like, chill.
Yeah, but, like, he got taken out of the hospital by his mom for hitting on the nurses, which immediately makes you go from wanna be cool to just desperate.
Like, he was...
What a fucking dork.
He was fun and entertaining last episode, and this episode I'm like, no, please do not be the perv character. We do not need that in Digimon. We do not need that in a series about 12-year-olds.
We don't need that in any anime, frankly.
So true.
We don't need
And
that.
honestly, I don't know why we keep getting them.
It is unfortunate.
Maybe someone likes them, but not us.
Then Kiyoshiro shows up, who we still haven't heard his name yet, technically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he immediately saves this scene.
He's being so normal, he immediately creeps up to Hiro and says, hey, so about your window, is it reinforced glass?
He's so normal.
Are you well protected from all of the spooky things?
Why didn't you ask for tempered glass?
He is absolutely already being haunted by Jellymon. There's no question about it.
I wrote down, this boy is acting so haunted.
He's so jumpy and scared, and it's so good. But also mood.
even when he walks away, he just like fucking pauses and looks left and right, looking so haunted. Like, we cannot emphasize this enough. This boy is haunted, and he will never admit it to anyone.
He will never admit it.
And Goto and Hiro are just letting this happen, like, this is weird, but this is normal for him, just let it go.
They're like, oh,
Yeah.
we're used to him being a little freak.
He has problems, he's fine.
Hiro's exact line was, "He must have issues." Like, oh, ow!
Don't we all?
So true.
Don't we all?
True. That's why it hurt.
Most relatable character in this show.
He is pretty good. I like him. I like all three of the protagonists so far.
Yeah.
They're all really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it's such a good sign that we've, like, seen very little of the other two protagonists, and already we're like, these guys kick ass.
Ruri and her just, like, eagerness for everything creepy is like, yes, this is so good.
Yeah, I'm very excited to, like, get a proper introduction to these characters, and also to meet, like, the partner Digimon. I'm like, I really want to see more of all these characters.
Me too.
Yes!
I'm hoping next episode we will see Big Banoi.
I'm assuming we will. That's kind of what they implied.
Yeah.
So very looking forward to that.
I also noticed, in comparison to the previous season of Digimon, the recap, or the reboot series, this one only had like a 15-second, like, previously on, whereas Adventure 2020 had like a minute and a half recaps each episode.
Oh.
Well, listen, they had Masako Nozaka as the narrator, the aforementioned old lady Goku. So if you have her, as, on the payroll, you got to get your money's worth.
Wait. No, I recognize that voice actress as the one for Dukemon. Did she do both?
Yeah, no, she plays Gilmon, she plays Dukemon, she plays Goku.
Okay, I don't care about Dragon Ball, so...
Yeah, also the narrator in Tamers, in addition to the 2020 reboot.
Okay.
Love that. Love that for her.
But it is very nice seeing the previously on be very short, because that means we have more space for actual episode, instead of, like, filling it out with, here's, like, a 1.5 to 2 minute recap, plus the 1.5 minute, like, who's that Digimon segment?
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm already liking that this season is taking time to be like, no, here's more story and less filler.
Yeah, for sure. So the next scene we get is Hiro, in the Mummy Museum. He is clearly looking for Mummymon himself now.
This is where we get the Mommies of the World sign.
Wrote that in all caps.
Didn't he have to, like, ask, like, how late he could stay out or something?
Oh yeah, because it is presumably a class day, and so he has to get permission to leave the campus.
Yeah, so he's just, like, there after, like, the holograms for the dinosaurs and shit get shut down and stuff. I love seeing Gammamon so excited about the dinosaur, though.
Gammamon's like, who's that Digimon? Hiro's like, that's a dinosaur. Oh, it looks like someone I know.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah, I mean, further evidence for our Hokuto fucked a dinosaur theory.
It is.
Yeah.
Maybe the Digimon Gammamon is referring to as his mom. Who knows?
So true.
Anyway, so yeah, then Hiro hides out in the bathroom waiting for the museum to close. Gammamon does do a toilet paper mummy costume. It's very precious.
It's great.
I loved it.
I love the scene when Hiro is walking out carrying Gammamon under one arm, and is still wrapped up in the toilet paper mummy outfit. It's so cute.
Oh, it's so cute.
I love that he's just, like, accepts the fact that Gammamon is wrapped up. He's just like, oh, okay, you're a mummy now, too. Great. Okay, fine.
They're undercover.
I do want to point out, too, that in episode 1, Hiro intentionally withheld information from the police and broke an enter into the off-limits auditorium, and then taught Gammamon the power of break law. And in this episode, Hiro is trespassing after hours again, and had his adoptive younger brother do the lockpicking. Hiro's a bad role model
He's chaotic good.
He loves crime.
Oh, it's so good. Be gay, do crimes.
Yeah.
We love these little anarchists.
He's a little hacker. He just, like, can hack the number pad.
By looking at it. Which is kind of terrifying.
Gammamon just looks at this little security door, and then it fucking opens.
Yeah, I like that Hiro fucking was like, oh, that's lucky. It just opened for me.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, dude, your partner opened it, but okay.
I think he was more saying it's lucky that Gammamon could do that.
Oh, no, I also assumed he didn't know Gammamon did it.
Yeah,
because Gammamon didn't make a loud keyboard noise, and he didn't say, I'm in. So how could Hiro possibly know?
Hacker voice, I'm in.
Gammamon didn't pull up his 3 keyboards and do a fucking sick hacking scene.
Triple hack.
Triple hack.
Oh, Ray is my favorite Amon character. Arya is actually, but Ray is a very close second. And then they run into Mummymon, like, almost immediately. And Hiro is like, oh, cool, are you a Digimon? Can you answer any of my questions? And Mummimon's like, nope.
It's like, Mummymon, where is my dad?
Who the fuck is your dad? How should I know?
He wraps him up.
So then Hiro sighs, and that triggers Mummimon's attack response. He wraps Hiro up in bandages. Gammamon, jumps at Mummymon, tries to fight, but then just gets totally owned. Mummymon, throws some bandages at him and pins him to the wall. He doesn't completely wrap up Gammamon because he says, oh, there's nothing wrong with this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is very interesting.
It's clearly just I want to get you out of the way so I can deal with my current patient.
But we don't know patient yet at that point.
It's true.
Right.
Because I thought he was a religious fanatic at this point.
Yeah.
I did not default to religion, but I was just like, the first time I watched this episode, what is making Mummymon do this? Because at first, he was just having a normal conversation with Hiro, and then Hiro sighed, and it's like, oh, I've got to deal with this. And I'm like, oh, interesting. And I was trying to figure it out, and I didn't until Mummymon says it himself, but...
Yeah, I also had to see Doctor and be like, oh...
The moment Mummymon said patient is when it clicked for me, and I was like, oh, suddenly this is not scary at all for me, and I'm fascinated.
He says patient. I really had to wait until Hiro says, oh, you're a doctor.
Yeah.
So Mummymon does drag Hiro down to his terrifying basement full of screaming mummified people.
Welcome to my hall of people.
And that's pretty fucked.
Mummymon, welcome to Pimp My Crib.
Oh no.
It needs more dead people.
Oh my god.
I was so freaked out, when he started talking about purification. I was like, what the fuck? Purification of what? What are you fucking talking about?
The subtitles on Crunchyroll have Mummymon use the term, that's a good sign, but in context, after figuring out he's a doctor, I'm like, oh, that shouldn't be the word sign. That he should say that's a good symptom when people are close to death.
Yeah.
A good sign. I mean, it makes some sense.
Yeah.
There are people dying all around, and Mummymon says, yes, this is good. The process is working.
This is how you doctor.
Hiro is actually being fairly observant on all of this and, like, sort of commenting to himself about, like, all these little things that Gammamon is saying. So, like, even in this, like, extremely fucked situation, he is, like...
Hiro's incredibly calm.
I would freak out.
Yeah, he is, taking notes and figuring things out, so...
Imagine not having claustrophobia. Couldn't be me.
I'm not claustrophobic, but, like, being wrapped up like that would be upsetting.
Oh, for sure.
And I kind of hope we do get a situation where Hiro, especially once the others join the protagonist team, where Hiro is too scared to be calm. And I'm also kind of terrified to figure out what that was, because if being mummified doesn't do that for him, what will?
Yeah. That'd be interesting.
Does he have to be buried in a swarm of spiders or something?
It'll be the bug episode, you're right. Because we need to have a bug episode.
We do. You can't skip the bugs. We love the bugs.
We do.
And it's such a common fear. How can you not?
We're banging our fists on the table, chanting over and over again, "Duh bugs, duh bugs."
Duh bugs.
Duh bugs.
Yeah.
We get a bug next time, but it's the wrong kind of bug.
Dun, 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 dun.
Anyways, Gammamon shows up.
Yeah, he rips the bandages. He manages to rip the bandages off of Hiro and, like, get him out of Gammamon grip. But then Gammamon just pulls out a fucking gun. This is a joke for Dan and Spike. Like Gilly Nibs, Gammamon has a gun now. Anyway, so he starts blasting. Hiro and Gammamon duck behind pillars.
He has the worst aim ever. Which, fair enough, I think he only has one eye, so...
This is the moment where Gammamon mentions, "You took away my patient."
Oh.
So, this is where I realized he was a doctor.
That doesn't take well to criticism, because it's like, oh no, you shouldn't be doing it like this. And he's like, no, I know I'm right.
And of course the mummy thinks a medical procedure would be mummification. Of course he does. That makes sense.
Yeah, he, like, refuses to learn any different. And I'm like, listen to the human that you're trying to help, apparently.
Yeah.
Like,
he's getting schooled by, like, a 12-year-old.
He does in a moment, but it's for right now. I think Gammamon is too, like, angry at Gammamon and, like, reacting to listen.
Yeah, we at some point we do get, like, Gammamon, like, flashing back to, like, oh, this is what I remember from what I saw in ancient Egypt. This is, this was...
No, it was the holograms in the museum that he saw.
Oh,
interesting. I wasn't sure if that was, like, the holograms or if he was, like, actually...
Unless ancient Egyptians were levitating when they mummified people around a crowd of observers, I think it was the holograms.
Would be cool, though.
I totally missed that.
yeah.
Plot twist, ancient Egyptians had the best technology.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah, but... Yeah, so he's talking about how, like, oh no, this is how to attain eternal life. This will purify you and cure you of all diseases when you become mummified and then, like, get resurrected through that process, like in ancient Egypt.
When I go to the doctor, I'm like, doctor, I have this issue, and they say, you know what you need? Mummification.
Gotta get your brain taken out, too.
That would fix a lot of my problems, actually.
Let's liquefy your lungs.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. He's like, oh, they can look like me and then they'll be fixed? Okay.
Yeah, it does make sense that the mummy would think mummification works.
It worked on me.
It's clearly the ideal form.
Yeah.
Gammamon isn't burdened by the looming specter of capitalism.
Or death.
So, is that true, too?
The specter, the hologram of capitalism, maybe.
Oh, I would really enjoy it if capitalism is like the final big bad.
So things aren't going too well in this fight. Gammamon is just like getting blasted by this like electricity beam from Mummymon's gun, and this is very upsetting. And Hiro is like getting wrapped up in bandages again, and yeah, and it looks bad. And then
Gammamon start listing all of his favorite foods.
Yeah, he starts talking about tuna and shiny and daikon, and yeah, Hiro is like right there with him, and then he like Hiro finally says, "And champion," and that like is the fucking thing that motivates, which is chocolate, of course, and that's the thing that motivates Gammamon to like fucking get back up, and we see like the little vital meter on
Hero's
Digivice like fill all the way up, and then Gammamon evolves into Betel Gammamon.
He evolves into champion.
This evolution sequence was so good.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah.
I fucking love the insert song for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I also love how short and to the point it is, and the song is slower than I expected, and I'm like, this doesn't feel like it should work, but I think this is my favorite evolution sequence in Digimon's yet.
Damn.
Okay.
You've seen all of them, so...
I have. I've watched every episode of every season.
So Gammamon does the classic evolution thing of turning from a little adorable baby into a hot shredded guy. Then, Hiro like in his mind's eye, he like sort of sees the name of Betel Gammamon's special move come up, which is Sore Shot. So then he calls that out. Betel Gammamon throws some fireballs at Mummymon. He does a cool fucking flip, and then it did actually nothing. But what it actually did is sort of distract Mummymon long enough for like Hiro to get his attention again and be like, "Hey,
a doctor should not kill his patients."
Yeah, what you're doing is wrong. You should not be killing people because humans aren't gonna resurrect. And then, like, they just dry up and become, desiccated corpses like the ones in the museum. And then...
Did you even take the Hippocratic Oath, Mummymon? First, do no harm!
He shows him that screenshot from, like, people die when they are killed.
Mummymon take a medical ethics class, and then, that's the thing that...
He's going to!
Yeah, that's the thing that finally makes Mummymon give up, and he falls to his knees, and then I think that's, when we get, all the people going out of the basement, they've all been freed,
Betel Gammamon does revert back to normal Gammamon. And Hiro's like, what's an evolution? I'm hungry.
Yeah, once again, Gammamon is too hungry to answer any questions. We are getting no exposition out of this guy, just stummy rumbles.
I think it's also Gammamon is just too dumb to give an exposition.
Yeah.
Gammamon said, "I will never be the narrator of this show."
Is Gammamon himbo?
He thinks too much with his gut.
It's true.
That's like a thing. I think, like, thinking with your gut is like a... I mean, it's a thing here, too, but I was listening to Podagreed talking about how Jaden thinks with his gut, too. That's what I was thinking of.
A very well-known cheating technique in anime is thinking with your gut.
Sounds like Gammamon might be a little bit... Like, well, if he thinks at all. Who knows?
Imagine having thoughts.
Damn.
Imagine that. I wonder what it's like.
Imagine having no thoughts.
Well, that's called meditation.
That's the one I have to imagine. I have ADHD, so I'm always thinking, and it's exhausting, frankly. No thoughts.
Anyway.
Anyway... Anyway, we get a scene of Mommymon saying to Hiro that he's finally, like, gonna go observe some actual doctors in a hospital doing real medicine.
Yeah, he's gonna go to a medical facility rather than a museum to learn medicine.
Yeah. I hope he's also gonna take a medical ethics class while he's at it.
One would hope. And Hiro's like, hey, just don't get caught.
Yeah.
Hopefully he watches, like, not just the doctors, but, like, also the nurses and the patient care techs. So he has a little bit of bedside.
Hopefully he watches and doesn't try and do it himself.
So he has a little bedside manner.
That needs a lot of work.
Yeah, his bedside manner sure does need work, huh?
Your pulse is too high, it's not dead enough. And then Gammamon is like, hey, we should go get more food because I'm hungry. And then they see Ruri being followed by Angoramon.
Yeah. Hiro catches sight of Ruri, and then we see a big bunny man with helicopter ears fly down and settle behind Ruri, and he is just a hologram at this point, presumably visible to no one but Hiro.
I'm so excited. Watching this episode, getting to that moment, I literally screamed, yes! Give me the fat bunny!
Big Banui.
Finally, Banui time.
And then it cuts to the credits, I'm like, no!
Next time. Probably.
It's the ultimate cliffhanger, we're all waiting for it.
I'm so excited for Angoramon.
Yeah, me too. Like... Yeah, all right. We are running a little long, so I want to sort of wrap up this portion of the discussion very quickly just by saying, like, this episode was good. Like, I liked the first episode, but this one was like, all right, I am so fucking into what this series is doing.
Yeah.
Digimon is good.
I like it a lot. I like there were parts that were, like, spooky, but even though it was aimed towards, like, kids and stuff. And there was, like, parts that looked like an old movie. Did you guys notice that? I thought that was really cool. I like what they're doing with the visual effects a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get, like, sort of the film grain shot. Yeah, we get sort of the film grain effect over, like, some of the scenes that Hiro is seeing.
Yeah. I love that.
The first episode was definitely good, but this one is like, okay, I'm sold on the series. I'm in it.
Totally.
Yeah.
I was gonna watch it all anyways, but now I'm not gonna, like, dread having to watch it like I did with Adventure 2020.
Yeah, like, already in just the first 2 episodes, I feel, like, so much more confident about this series than I did about 2020, just because, like, 2020 had, like, a strong opening, but also, like, did so little with the characters. I was just like, oh, can this actually sustain itself and, like,
No,
it could not. Can this actually, like, keep having a story, like, 60 episodes down the line? And it didn't.
I was not as sold on the opening for 2020 because it's just, hey, let's do our war game again. I'm like, well, we've already done our war game like 3 times. How about something new?
Yeah, totally.
And now we got it.
We got Omegamon in the second episode. I'm like, oh, this is not a good sign.
Yeah. It was like a good appearance of Omegamon, but it was like, oh, where does the series go from here? And the answer is kinda nowhere.
Why would you get Omega in episode 2?
It's not even just a Mega, it's an Ultra level, of which there's only like 12, I think. It's a stage above Mega.
Yeah, they literally just, like, used their biggest evolution in episode 2, and it's like...
That sucks.
Yeah. Anyway, in the interest of, like, letting Elvir get some sleep, do we want to... Yes. Do we have time for our segment this week, or should we save that?
I can do, like, another 10-15 minutes, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I will try to keep this quick then. So it has come to my attention that, from interacting with people on the Discord, there are people coming here who have either, very little experience with the Digimon franchise or are coming to it for the first time. So I wanted to do just, a quick little, sort of introductory, sort of like a little starter guide for the Digimon franchise. Just talk a little bit about, which seasons are good to start with, why we like them, what are some of the, different qualities that make each one enjoyable. I have a few things I want to talk about. I know Austin, Elvira, and Morg have stuff they can chime in with too. But yeah, just real quick, I do want to try and keep this quick. So Adventure is obviously the first series, that's the one that laid a lot of groundwork for things that came after it. So I think if you like to start with chronologically the first series, or you love doing things in release order, or you just want to see sort of the foundational block in the series before you go on to anything else, Adventure is a fairly decent starting point. I mean, there are definitely a lot of rough things about Adventure, as we alluded to previously. I think the writers have said that the production schedule was so rushed that they were not able to plan out any of the overarching story in advance, and that definitely shows. There are definitely some pacing problems and some very rough moments of animation. But
oh, look, the final big bad showed up for the first time, the second to last episode.
That's only a problem if you watch it in order.
Yeah. So there are definitely a lot of things like that I think could cause you to bounce off of Adventure. But I think what the series does have going for it is just the characters and the relationships between them. I don't know, even if you're not super on board for the story and its weird pacing and all these villains of the week, it still has a pretty solid cast of main characters. You're still gonna, be able to look at a few characters and be oh, these are my favorites. I really like them. I like these cute little Digimon and, the friendships with the humans. And yeah, so I think the really special thing about Adventure, and the thing that makes it worth a watch in spite of all its flaws, is just you do have these characters, and by the end of the series you do really care about them, even if there were some rough patches along the way.
I will add to that, that's part of why I think the dub aged better, is because it's a comedy dub and not a serious thing, but that helps some of the more weirdly paced moments stay engaging with the humor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know the dub has its likers. I know for me, just the style of humor does not always work. I feel a lot of it has not aged super well. So my general blanket recommendation is subs over dubs. Just because the subs also have, in my opinion, much better music, and I do kind of prefer the Japanese voice acting. And another thing the dub tends to do is just fill in every silence with extra lines of dialogues and, just a bunch of jokes, and it does sort of break the tone a lot. So I feel if you just if you like a lot of jokes and don't mind some stinkers, then you might enjoy the dub. But in my opinion, I think the dub just does a better, the sub just does a better job overall of telling a story.
Yeah, I would not ever call the Adventure dub faithful, but yeah, I still think it's more engaging. And I'll admit, part of the reason I don't care for Adventure is due to I watched Frontier and Tamers, which even in the dub had a more serious tone, and then going to Adventure and it's a joke, a comedy. I'm this is not the tone for me. That's why I watched the sub.
Yeah.
And then I have gone back and watched the dub, and I'm like, okay, this is, as an adult remembering this series, this is funny and engaging in a new, different way.
Yeah. So then I think that's going to bring us to the next recommendation, which is Tamers. I feel like this is the one that, like, fucking nails it. I feel like this is, in my opinion, like, the best entry point for the franchise. Tamers just, like, takes all the good stuff out of Adventure and Zero Two and just really elevates it with, like, this really thoughtful approach to the characters, and everyone is so super well fleshed out and has a really good arc. There's even basically everyone in the supporting cast has like a pretty distinct character arc, and it is just like head and shoulders above in terms of its writing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And also just like the fucking protagonists are so good. You get
It also helps that the main cast is 3 people rather than 8.
Yeah.
That is something that I think always drives Adventure down, is its large central cast.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember clicking more than than Adventure. Just based on all kinds of things. And, I think, like, the 3 main characters, but, like, they're not the only ones that get Digimon, and that's nice to see.
Yeah.
You know? That's all I have really to say. I don't have much to add to this conversation.
Yeah. And the series composer Chiaki Kanaka, listen, he is now a cringe old man yelling about vaccines and cancel culture, but he was, I don't know, he wrote some cool stuff, I think, before he got old and boomerfied. Like, he's also this, series composer for, like, Serial Experiments Lane and, like, the original Hellsing and Devil Lady, so, like, he has some, like, he is primarily known as a horror writer and has like some very well regarded stuff on his resume. So if you're just like a fan of that, also worth checking out Tamers.
And like 20 years ago, he was legitimately progressive in ways that are still pretty good today. But it's just now he's gotten the brain rot of boomerism. Yeah, unfortunate. So next, I think, Austin, you wanted to talk about Savers? Yes, I wanted to also add an addendum to Adventure. I have not finished it yet, but I've been playing the PSP Adventure game, which retells Season 1, and due to hindsight, fills in some of those gaps and fleshes out some moments, and is very... I'm very thankful for that, because it's like, oh, this didn't come out of nowhere.
Oh, nice.
Yes. It is Japanese only, so you'll either have to find a fan sub, or if you know Japanese, that works too. But that's really good. Again, I haven't finished yet, so I can't say it's how it ends, but I did also want to recommend Savers, because due to the 5-year time gap between Frontier and Savers, Savers attempted to do a lot more experimental stuff and was aimed at a older audience, the same audience as the previous seasons, who are now 5 years older, and so they tried doing more mature themes while still keeping it child-friendly, and I think it worked really well.
Yeah, I think also Savers just gets silly. It really leans into, like, the fact that it's a shonen anime, and, like, I think definitely, like, takes
Masaru fucking punches a Digimon every episode!
It really is just, like...
That's how his Digisoul manifests. He has to punch a Digimon in the face!
What if we took this premise of Digimon and made it fucking silly? What if we made it shonen as fuck and just stupid and ridiculous? But also,
Savers deals with themes of stuff that are kind of heavy and intense, like genocide.
Yeah.
So,
and also, there's like a really solid emotional core of just like familial love, and there's a lot of like really good family stuff in that series, and a lot of good moments that spring out of that. So,
and by really good, you mean very messy, but pretty well done. And I would also, my final recommendation would be for Atmon. And this is due to it is my favorite season in all of Digimon. I think it's really, really good. But also due to the attempted rebrand of Digimon Universe instead of Digimon, they kind of, while sticking with the central themes of like bonding and like friendship is power and investigating humans' relationship with technology and stuff like that, they also kind of build stuff up from a new ground. And so, like, one thing about most of the seasons is, like, Savers does have elements of, if you don't watch the prior 4 seasons, there will be concepts that are not explained because they're fleshed out in previous seasons. Atmon doesn't do that because it's a new start, a rebrand, and it basically has to just, I can't word right now.
Yeah, I'd say App Monsters is really the hidden gem of the franchise because I feel like so few Digimon fans have seen it, but it's like, it's really good. The characters are super likable. It has a really fun and silly sense of humor.
Very, very gay.
It's very gay. Haru has a boyfriend, and his name is Yujin, and they're in love with each other.
It is canonically stated that Yujin is the ideal person for Haru. How is that not gay?
It's pretty gay.
It's so good.
Also, if you just like the aesthetics of like a more modern anime, and you want to see like, I don't know, what a more recent entry in the Digimon franchise looks like, go check it out, because like, it really, draws inspiration from everything that came before it and really synthesizes it in a fun way while like still establishing its own identity and having like a solid idea of like what its themes are and what it's saying and what it wants to be.
Yeah. And it definitely helps that from episode 1, they had the big bad of the final episode determined. Like, they can build towards that. Whereas other seasons have been like, I don't know, how about this is the big bad, and then, we have like half the season left. How about this is the big bad?
Yeah, and then I think the last thing we wanted to talk about was the game Cyber Sleuth. That's just like a good entry point if you want to play a Digimon video game. It's, it's a fairly Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory. You can get both of them in a bundle for fairly cheap, assuming you find a good sale for it.
And it's on just pretty much everything at this point.
Yeah, just a good, fun monster collecto game, turn-based RPG.
I love turn-based.
You have a party full of your little guys. You can evolve them different ways, and try and unlock all the little monsters. It's just a fun time if you like a monster collecting RPG.
No, it's one of the only. I think it's the only Digimon game I ever played, and it was so much fun. I really was into the storyline. I loved the side quests. I only had a few moments that made me go, eesh. So that's a great game.
Yeah, and it also seems to have inspired Ghost games somewhat, in that, like, a lot of the sort of mysteries you're solving are, like, sort of spooky, like, urban legends and rumors of haunting that turn out to be, like, just Digimon messing around and doing their thing.
Yeah, in Cyber Sleuth, the occult club is a common, reoccurring, like, group of people who are just like, hey, we'll pay you to solve this mystery.
Love that.
Yeah, so that's that.
I've only played Digimon Rumble Arena. Don't play that game.
Yeah, so hopefully now, if you're interested in checking out, like, other areas of this franchise, if you've maybe watched a little bit of Ghost Game and you like what you see, if you like Gammamon, if you like this little hungry, stupid boy, there's more where that came from. There's, like, a bunch of really super likable characters and good storylines out and funny little monsters for you to see, so if that's your shit, if that's something you like, yeah, hopefully now you have some ideas of stuff you can check out that are like fairly accessible and, you know, friendly for newcomers to the series.
And then come into our Discord and talk about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, also for basically anything from before 2010, you do have to fucking steal in order to find the subs. That's just a thing. So like if you're looking for it and you can't find it, those aren't available through legal channels. You do the anarchist thing and just pirate your anime. We love to see it.
Hiro would be proud of you.
Be gay, do crimes.
Hiro and Gammamon said be gay, do crimes.
They
really did.
You look at your computer and the fucking binary code scrolls past your eyes and you've downloaded all the torrents of Digimon.
So true.
That's how you have to do it.
Right, but I am about to be taken out by Mummymon, so I will have to be closing off now.
Okay.
All right, let's do. Yeah, Elvier, what are your plugs?
My plugs. I only really have my Twitter, which is @Eriviru. You can find me there, and you can find me in various other Discords that have a podcast. I guess this is the only podcast I do, though.
Hell yeah.
I really need to sleep.
If you want to jump out right now, that's totally cool. We can say bye now.
Yeah, I am gonna jump out. I'm really sorry. I'm very tired.
No worries.
All right, bye,
fun.
Elvier. Sorry for keeping you so long. I wasn't expecting
it was
it to run this
fun.
late.
Bye.
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 You can find me at Haunting the Morgue on Twitter. That's Haunting the MORG. You can find me on my other podcast, Sonic Shuffle, a random and holistic Sonic lore podcast. And then you can find me on Departure Lounge, a plane-themed Hunter x Hunter podcast. That's really it. I guess, like, we could probably have, like, Emery go, and then Austin can do plugs last, since I kind of jumped in here.
Yeah, I'm also on a Hunter x Hunter podcast called Gone Will Hunting. We release episodes sometimes. Yeah, I'm also on For Affinity. My username is Space Robot. I'm over there taking commissions, drawing Digimon, drawing Sonic OCs, whatever the fuck I feel like. Yeah, that's it for me.
You can find me on Andalite Bandits and Animorphs podcast, where me and my co-hosts read, recap, and review each book in the Animorphs series in published order. And we also do live commentary tracks for the TV show, which is terrible and fun. Because it's Nickelodeon going, hey, let's take this book series about deconstructing children soldiers and make it into a campy, weird 90s TV show. And not very well, but it's fun to watch with friends, so...
Hell yeah.
All right, and this is a Noisespace.xyz podcast. Thank you, Matt GameCube, for hosting us. Yeah, do we want to say anything about Noisespace, like other podcasts on the network?
Yeah, I mean, Sonic Shuffle's on the network. Honestly, like, I feel like check out any of the podcasts. I've been listening to a lot of Kyle XY about Kyle XY, because I really like the hosts on that. And then, so I guess that's my recommendation.
That's a thing I haven't heard of or thought of in years.
It's very, yeah, they actually talk about that, how, like, people don't fucking think about the show, and they didn't either. It's great.
I forgot that even existed.
Yeah, there's another show that started like a week before ours did called Prime Cuts, where they're just talking about all the Transformers series in random order. So I'm not a Transformers person, but I listened to the first couple episodes of that and had a good time.
Yeah. You can also find this podcast. This podcast has a Twitter now, run by myself. I believe that's Digi Ghost Gaze on Twitter, so follow that if you want funny jokes.
Yeah, and we've already mentioned our Discord. Surprisingly, a lot of conversation on it. Yeah, since we're such a new show, I was not expecting the Discord to be as jumpin' as it is. It's kind of a party over there.
Hell yeah.
Not too loud of a party though.
Yeah.
Still only a few people on it, which is kind of like the ideal level for me.
Yeah, same for me. I like to have a conversation when I go to a party, not just talk over loud noise.
For sure. Thank you, Big Challenges, aka Dan, for this suggestion for our outro. So, to all the poltergeists, ghouls, and non-boonaries, until next time, bye!
Bye!
Bye!